Heroin almost killed me, but Jesus gave me life. I want to tell you my story, my testimony on how I went from addicted, hopeless, and suicidal to today having over 4 years clean, freedom from the chains of addiction, having hope again for the future, having this overwhelming sense of peace that I just want to share with everyone around me, and just being in love with life in a way that before never even seemed possible. And I owe it all to the glory and grace of God, and it's freely available to you as well. I guess my story on how I got into drugs isn't very unique. I had a good childhood, great parents. They tried their best with me. It's my own fault that I made dumb decisions, but I was an anxious kid, very empathic, so the pain of others around me drove me into a lot of anxiety that's followed me into adulthood, as well as ADHD that went undiagnosed until my 20s because I was quote unquote gifted, which that in itself brought its own set of challenges with it. I had these great expectations placed on me that as a kid I couldn't withstand the pressures of. This led to my first existential crisis at 12, and that left me feeling like there wasn't much hope for these childhood dreams that I had, and the future seemed bleak. I didn't really felt like I belonged anywhere. I was so lonely and broken at such a young age that when I started experimenting with drugs and weed at 15, it felt like the answer, like the cure, like I could finally think straight for the first time in my life without all this anxiety overwhelming me, and gave me a false sense of belonging because I had false confidence from it to do things that I didn't I wouldn't do sober, talk to people that I normally wouldn't talk to. And the camaraderie of it I really liked, but those problems I had were just magnified whenever the drugs ran out. And then it also came with consequences. That's the problem with trying to fill this hole inside of you with drugs, is it's like pouring acid into the hole. And although it's filling it for the moment, it's burning away at the edges and making the hole bigger. So I got in a lot of trouble because of my love for drugs. At a young age, I had 2 DUIs by the time I was 21. I totaled 3 cars, one of which probably should have killed me. I rolled off a cliff and wrapped my car around a tree. Was trapped under the dash for 90 minutes before someone drove by and found me. And the volunteer firefighters came out and used the jaws of life to extract me from the car and then life flight me to the hospital. And that was a miracle that I survived that. God was there that day, but I wasn't giving him credit yet. I was still claiming agnostic for the first 25 years of my life. At that point, I really was starting to feel hopeless. That's the thing, is addiction's such a vicious cycle. You start out in this hole and it seems escapable at first. You feel like you can throw a rope out or someone else could help you out and let a ladder down, but you're not ready to leave. But you also want to make it comfortable, so you take the dirt around you and you make dirt furniture out of it to make your hole more comfortable, but makes the hole get deeper and deeper. You get grimier and grimier from laying in your dirt furniture, and it's less and less enjoyable. And before you know it, there's no human-made rope or ladder that'll get you out of that hole. And something greater than me had to save me. And most people, they just spend the rest of their lives in their upside down dirt palace until it crumbles around them. They're already buried 6 feet under, and the people in their lives have already mourned the old version of them for so long that it's not even that big of a surprise. So that's where I was, in my pit of despair and loneliness. It's where I met the girl that introduced me to heroin. And, peer pressure kind of works when you're already broken down so much. This drug that I promised I would never do, it figured, why not? I already was so far deep. But all it took was that one time. That feeling that I got was just like that feeling when I first discovered drugs, except times 100. Like, I really wanted to feel like that for the rest of my life. And that was not good. That feeling, you never feel that again. You chase that forever. And I mean, it's just that one hit is all it takes, because once your brain knows that it's able to feel that way, it's never able to forget it, and it'll do what it can to get back there. And then once withdrawal starts happening, you're just completely screwed. There's no way you can be a normal person, especially if you have anyone to provide for. There's no job you can hold down whenever you're dope sick, so you'll do whatever it takes to get the drug. And these morals that you thought you had, they're gone. Everything goes out the window if it's an option for you to get that next fix. And that's just to maintain. After a while, it's not even fun anymore. You watch your life crumble around you, but there's nothing you can do, because it is so hard to break free from those chains. But I hit rock bottom a couple times. I went to rehab forced by my parents. Can't really force anyone to go to rehab. They have to be ready for it. I thought I was. I did want to get clean, and I got 18 months through the help of NA and AA. I thought I could just teach myself and will myself out of this disease, that if I just knew enough about what was going on with me and how other people beat it, then I could just do it all myself. And through NA and AA, helping other people, that really did help for a while, but I wasn't equipped to deal with life's challenges or temptations that came my way. And when life got hard, I fell back into it, and life came crumbling down way quicker this time. I lost everything, and I was a person that I didn't recognize. I was doing things, my body I'm not proud of. I was stealing from work, which got me fired. I got evicted from my place because of the company I was keeping. I had these quote unquote friends that were making me feel horrible about myself for always stealing from me. It's like once you burn all your good relationships, all you have left are the ones that want something out of you or are miserable themselves, and misery loves company. So there I was at rock bottom, evicted from my house, fired from my job. I had to move back in with my dad. That's where I heard about Victory Group, which was NA/AA, except instead of being focused on a higher power, that higher power just is Jesus Christ. They only follow the first 3 steps, and at the end of every meeting, they ask if you want to give your life over to Jesus. And that first meeting I did. So that first meeting, I gave my life over to Jesus, and that was a big step for me. But it didn't just heal everything there. I still was unable to quit on my own. I was coming to this group for 6 months, still getting high beforehand, but seeds were being planted. I was learning about God and His grace and the stories of the Bible, how it's always broken people that God has used to work through them. That gave me hope. And I was witnessing evidence of that, looking around the room at how God had worked in these people's lives and how He was speaking through them, because I just always would hear exactly what I needed to hear, until the one night, the one guy was talking about how he needed to be put into rehab to get away from his ability to self-sabotage. And that was what I needed to hear that night. That week, I checked myself into rehab. And this time was different, because although I didn't have much hope, I burned all the relationships. I didn't even tell my mom that I was going into rehab. It was just my dad that knew. I knew where I could turn. And when I walked into my detox room, I saw Gideon's Bible there on my bedside table. And I had tried reading the Bible a lot of times in my life, but I always started in the Old Testament because that makes sense, right? To start at the beginning. But I never made it very far. The Old Testament's so dense and confusing. But this was the New Testament, and I just opened up there to the Gospel of Matthew, and I started reading, and I started praying. And instead of being hopeless, I was just grateful that, I was in a safe place, and there still was hope. I wasn't dead yet. It's a 1 in 20, they say, chance to recover from heroin, but still a chance, you know. But reading the Gospel of Matthew, I felt his grace. I can't explain it other than it just felt like the warmest hug around me, and this deep knowing that I was experiencing grace, that I was reading the truth, and that I was forgiven. No matter how much I hated myself, he didn't see me like that. And I knew it at that moment. And he didn't turn a switch and take away my withdrawal symptoms. That would have been nice. But he did take away my desire to get high. And hope had spawned at that moment. Hope that has grown ever since. The stronger that my relationship with my Lord has been, the better my life has become. Since then, everything's just been different. My life has improved in so many ways. I got my license back after 7 years of not driving, which I'd have the blow and go starter for a year, which was annoying, but I made it through that too. And now I'm just a licensed driver, a normally functioning member of society. I got a job that's not great. It's just a service job, but I make more than I've ever made, and I'm able to be a beacon of light in the community, that I'm able to find purpose in my work today, even if it's a small purpose. My relationships are better than they've ever been with my family. I was single for 7 years, and now I am very much in love with my girlfriend. And that came to me as soon as I let go of the need to find someone myself. God led her to me. God has done just so many beautiful things in my life, and he's given me this testimony to share and help other people who are struggling. And that I always in my life needed a purpose, and for God to save me from the pit and the wretch that I was, and to give me this light that I can share with people has just been the most beautiful thing in the world. I am so grateful every day for what he's done in my life. And I was at the point where I was literally, when I was filling up the needle, I was begging for that shot to be the one to take me out and kill me. But God wouldn't let me go, and I'm so grateful he didn't, because I love life today in a way that I never loved life before. And I love myself in a way that I never loved myself before. I like the person I am because I try my hardest to align my life with God's will. So what do I have to worry about? I don't have to live with regret and look over my shoulder like I did in addiction. Life is beautiful now, and it's available to all that's struggling. If you are out there still struggling, I want you to know that there is hope. Please leave a comment so I can pray for you. And if you know someone that's struggling, please don't give up on them. I know that it was the prayers of others that led me back into his arms, and to be back on the journey to be the version of God that he wants me to be. And I know that's possible for everyone. Never lose hope. Miracles happen every day. If you want to hear more about my journey with recovery and my journey with my faith, I plan on making weekly videos, sharing my strength and hope. So Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. I'll see you again soon.